When looking at something cute, like a baby or an animal, we are often overwhelmed by a torrent of positive emotions. The aggression comes up to balance the high from the emotions we experience. The aggressive tendency, however, is minimal and often not acted upon. Rejection is often experienced as physical discomfort. 6 primary feelings are conveyed universally. These are surprise, disgust, anxiety, sorrow, rage, and happiness. This is among the psychology facts that explain why emotions are felt so similarly by different individuals. The busier you are, the happier you are likely to be. A close embrace with another person for more than 20 seconds will produce feel-good hormones in the body. Water has a profound impact on the human psyche. The sight of water bodies and also the sound of water produces relaxing and calming effects on people. Chocolate has a positive impact on our mood because it releases the chemical oxytocin when consumed. If we have a plan B, Plan A is less likely to work. Short-term and long-term memories are saved at around the same time. Information that is easier to access is harder to remember. Finally, did you know that the brain has close to 70,000 thoughts on average every day? However, an estimated 60 to 70% of those thoughts are considered negative. Your brain tends to work overtime at night, at least when it comes to your imagination, so you're more likely to dream fanciful things or come up with bright ideas at night. Your brain will betray you. If you happen to really like someone in a romantic way, you're going to find it extremely difficult to lie to them or try to deceive them. There are several more psychological facts about crushes you should probably read about if you're in these kinds of situations. Best advice: be honest and don't lie, not even in the hips. Your memory is probably wrong. Although traumatic or unusual events are imprinted on your memory, the details of those memories are likely not remembered correctly. You've probably heard of obsessive-compulsive disorder. It's generally considered a psychological dysfunction, but from a biochemical point of view, it is no different from what the brain does when you develop romantic feelings for someone. In the 1920s, John B. Watson experimented with the idea that he could condition a baby into developing a fear of something completely ordinary and unthreatening. He used a real infant named Albert, and began a series of conditioning tests that led to fear reaction for everything from a rat to a fake Santa beard. One of the most famous psychological principles ever was not studied by a psychologist at all. Ivan Pavlov noticed that dogs he was studying started salivating when they saw his assistant, and connected that they associated the assistant with feeding time. During World War II, psychologist P.F. Skinner experimented with the notion that pigeons could help guide missiles. Some studies involving dogs cross over to human behavior areas. For example, one experiment looked at whether we talk to dogs the same way we talk to babies. The results were interesting, showing similarities with word usage, pitch, and a favor towards the present tense. In a social experiment, a Stanford University professor created a simulated prison. In order to map behavior, about 1/3 of the guards became so sadistic. Several of the prisoners were abused and traumatized. In 1976, a study investigated whether the strength and length of men's flow during urination were influenced by how close the person in the next urinal was standing to them. In the 60s, medical journals detailed experiments in aversion therapy for conditions such as homosexuality. For example, these experiments sometimes involved electric shocks. High school teacher Ron Jones attempted to demonstrate how the Nazi regime had influenced so many people. Within a week, his single-class social experiment had seen students voluntarily create a fascist group on campus, creating uniforms and insignia. After 5 days, he called the experiment off.